right, it is November the 9th. If you are watching this, you either are reviewing or you need to get the notes or you missed a day. Whatever it is you need, that's what we're here for. So that's why I post these. So, anyways, today there was no warm up. Don't forget that if you have not done the American Revolution test, make sure you do the test. But today we're going to be focusing on the Articles of Confederation notes. You open them up, they'll look like this, more or less. Of course, mine are filled out because I've already filled them out. But so as you can see, we're not going to finish. We're going to type 1, 2, 3 things on Wednesday, and then after that, we'll probably take a quick quiz on Wednesday, and then Thursday we're going to review everything all together on a Nearpod. But today's work. So the Articles of Confederation is America's first government. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't all that good. There were some good things about it, but at the same time, there were tons and tons of weaknesses, and we're going to go over 7 over the next 2 class days. The first thing, though, is when I think about the Articles of Confederation, I always think about me playing like Super Mario Brothers way back in the late 1980s on the original Nintendo Entertainment System. When I first played it, I was very young, 5 or 6 years old, and it didn't work out too well. It was a bad experience for me. I made a lot of mistakes. Okay, and the reason why is because it was the first time I've ever played that before. First time I ever had a regular NES controller in my hand, but at the same time, it wasn't all bad. Okay, there's always some good things that happen. I learned, the basic directions: how to move left, how to move right, how to jump, stomp on the Goombas and they're dead, and things like that. So, yeah, the United States. So when I think of the Articles of Federation, I think of it being like me playing a video game. Most of it's pretty weak, but at the same time, there are some good things. We'll only get to the good things on Wednesday. So the United States is finally independent, and they need to make a new law. They need to make a new government. But at the same time, they're like, hey, whenever we were with Britain, with England, that was a pretty toxic relationship. So we need to be completely different from them. All right. So what they wanted to do was, instead of having the national or the country government in charge, they're like, let's give the power to the states. That way, each state can do what's good for them, and the national government is still there, but it's going to be very weak, and that's going to be a big problem. As you can see here, the young nation, very poor. The Articles of Confederation are so weak they couldn't even hold up this guy, and the money was useless. We didn't all of that. So again, the whole point of this is to be completely opposite. So they're like, hey, we don't want a president, because if you have a president, that means one person will have a lot of power, and he could even become like a king. And they're like, no, we don't want to do that. So number one, no president. Why is that a weakness? Well, the reason why is because, in emergencies, sometimes you need that president to make those really quick snap decisions. And instead of doing that, they'd have to go through all 13 states. And in order to make some serious changes, all 13 states had to agree with it. It was nearly impossible. The second thing was taxes. They were still nervous about taxes from, the whole war. The American Revolution was over taxes. And so they were like, we shouldn't let them do that. Let's let the states handle the whole taxing thing. But the big problem about that is that the United States was in a lot of debt from the American Revolution. They owed a lot of people a lot of money, but they can't raise money because there's no national taxes, whatever the states wanted to give. Next, there's no national army. Each state had its own militia. And because of that, we did not have any, united armed force. So if, let's say one state got into it with England, the other states might or might not come to their aid to help them. And so that was a big, huge weakness. Another thing is the courts would settle problems between the states, but they don't have the national courts to settle problems between the states. Now, again, they're afraid that the national court system might be unfair to the rights of the states. So they're like, you know what, let's not have a national court, and maybe the states will be able to figure this out. And then they had money problems, and the problem being is that each state could make its own money. Now, if you have 13 different types of money for one country, if you're like France or Spain wanting to get that money back, you're like, why do I have 7,000 New York bills and I have 300 New Jersey bills, and I have 400 Pennsylvania bills, and then I have 50 Georgia bills. There's like so many different dollar bills here that I don't really want any of it. And so the money was worthless. And that caused a big problem, especially because they were involved in a huge, huge war debt. So for the notes for the day, they're right here. So no president. They were afraid of one person have too much power for national taxes. They were afraid that the taxes would make people mad again. The U.S. Army, they had a fear of strong national army that would abuse the rights of the people, like the Quartering Act and the not Townsend Act, but the Boston Massacre and the Intolerable Acts, parts of the Intolerable Acts. No national court system, because a strong national court system might abuse the rights of the states, and no national currency. Basically, each state can print its own paper money. So don't forget, we will review this on Wednesday. We will probably take a test, not a test, but a quiz on Wednesday. And we hope to see you again very soon. Take it easy.